Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and on today's episode of The Guns That Shaped Me, we're going to talk about the first handgun that I ever shot. Now, this is my mom's Ruger Mark II. I'm not sure, she might have bought this gun before I was ever born. I'd have to look up the serial number to see when this particular pistol was made, but I don't ever remember when I was a kid. I don't ever remember seeing this gun or anything. I had heard about my mom having a pistol, but she never, would show it to me. It was always like under her bed in a little box, and I'd never seen her shoot it or anything. And so basically this gun was just in a little lockbox and, unfired. Well, I guess she probably took it to a range maybe once or twice, like a long, long time ago when she first bought it. But, other than that, she never took this gun out to shoot it. My dad never took the gun out to shoot it. And it really just went unfired for many, many years until I was, 16 or 17. And, I had my first couple of shotguns, a Winchester 16 gauge and a single shot 410. And so I remember asking, hey, can I take this gun out and shoot it? Because, nobody else is shooting it. And, I had basically proven to everybody that I was safe with guns by this point because I had shot guns in Boy Scouts, and I'd shot my own guns, I'd shot friends' guns, and so I knew what I was doing. So they let me take this pistol to the farm, and I would shoot, I'd shoot several mags through it. We only had one mag for it, but it has a little holster for it too. So so I would take this gun out and my two shotguns and just basically have an afternoon of shooting. I probably shot this more than anything because 22 was so much cheaper than 410 or 16 gauge. And it also kicks a lot less. He'd probably shoot my friend's 22 rifle as well. So, we would take it out and shoot it and shoot soda cans and water bottles and stuff like that, and just had a good old time. So this is Ruger Mark II. It's a standard model, and this is the gun that got me hooked on the Ruger standard series of pistols, or the Ruger Mark series of pistols, specifically in this barrel profile. There's all sorts of generations of this gun, and a lot of them have the bull barrels or the slab-sided or the fluted barrels, the real thick barrels, but I really like the standard tapered barrel. There's just something about this that screams cool, I guess you'd say, because it's very reminiscent of a German Luger, which is actually not what this gun was patterned after. This gun was patterned after the Japanese Nambu, but I feel like the actual barrel profile of these guns was actually patterned after the Luger, because that's just what it looks like, and even like the grip angle to me and the type of grips that are on it just screams Luger. Now, of course, the action on this is completely different from a Luger because that's a toggle link action. But other than that, I think it looks more like a Luger than a Nambu. The action on the Nambu versus this is much more similar. And I think even I can't even remember. It's been a long time since I've seen a picture of a Luger. I don't remember if it has a button here or not, or if it's like this. So the old Ruger Mark 1s and Mark 2s have the heel, like the European style mag release, the heel mag release, whatever you want to call it. And this is loaded, as you can see. Is it fully loaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess it is fully loaded. And that is why, wow, you always safety check your firearms. It's been a long, long time since I've had this one out of the safe. But that's just why you don't pull the trigger or point at anything that you don't want to shoot. And it is on safe, so that's a bonus. So anyway, like I was saying, it has the heel style mag release. The Mark 1s and the Mark 2s have that, and has the bolt release here, and your safety is here. And like I said, this is the Mark II, so it's got all those features. And this was a gun that for a long time I carried in a holster. And we'll just take this magazine out of the way. I carried it in a holster around the farm, like pretty much every time I would go to the farm. And this was like my snake pistol, because it's a whole lot more convenient to carry this on your hip than a 410 that doesn't even have a sling on it to shoot snakes with. And so every time I would see a water moccasin, I would shoot at it with this. And I've killed probably, I don't know, between 5 and 10 water moccasins with this pistol over the years, just trying to protect my puppies and protect everybody else that's there, keep them from getting bit by a venomous snake. But I would carry this gun all over the farm. I even carried this gun hunting, as my sidearm, because it was the only sidearm or the only handgun that I had back then. And so it was actually technically illegal to carry it, but I did on my own property anyway. I've never had to use a handgun hunting for self-defense or anything like that. But I always like to carry a handgun hunting just in case. And back then, when I first started hunting, when I was 16 and 17 years old, this was the only handgun I had. And there was 1 or 2 times that I went hunting off of my own property, and this was the only handgun I had, and I chose not to carry it. In fact, I don't even know if it would have been legal for me to carry a gun anyway at that time, because I was not 21. Definitely wouldn't have been not on my property or not on somebody else's private property for sure. But anyway, I did carry this gun quite a bit, just either at the farm or hunting, and I've put lots and lots of rounds through this particular pistol. Now, this particular pistol is a real pain to clean and take apart and clean, as are the Mark 1, 2, and 3. They're all just a real pain to take apart and clean. That was actually changed in the Mark 4. And by the way, I actually have 5 of these pistols. So I have 2 Mark 1s, this Mark 2, a Mark 3, and a Mark 4. And they're all in the same barrel profile. A couple of them are longer, 6-inch barrels, and the rest of them are I think it's 4 3/4-inch barrel, which is what this one has. So I have a Mark 1, a Mark 2, and a Mark 4 that have this specific barrel. And then I have a Mark 1 and a Mark 3 that have the longer barrel. And they're all awesome pistols, if you ask me. But this was the pistol that got me interested in those pistols and got me wanting to get one in each generation of these types of 22 pistols. And I just love them. Maybe one day I'll get like a Mark 4 in like the bull barrel, the target barrel, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember if it's called a target or if it's called a bull barrel. I'd have to look. But anyway, those are the more popular barrels. More people have those kind of barrels on these pistols as opposed to the standard barrel, but these to me are the coolest looking ones. And to me, they're just as accurate. I mean, maybe they're not just as accurate, but they're accurate enough for if you're going to use this for anything real, if you're going to use it for shooting pests or anything like that. Now, you're probably not going to use this pistol to shoot a golf ball at 100 yards or 200 yards or, whatever, 22 Plinkster would do with his Ruger Mark II. But yeah, it's perfectly accurate for anything like that, and anything not like that. Anything like shooting snakes or squirrels or rabbits or chipmunks or whatever. That is really what I see a gun like this being used for, and that is what I used it for. I haven't shot this particular pistol in a while, actually. I think the last several years when I've taken like a 22 handgun out, I've actually taken my revolvers out, but I really need to get one of these out and take it shooting again, because these things are a blast. And maybe someday I'll get like some other brands like the Smith & Wessons or the Brownings or whatever. Those two types of pistols, the Browning Buckmark and the Smith & Wesson Victory, I think is what it's called. Those are two great 22 pistols as well. I might get me one of those too. But this, like I said, was the first handgun that I ever fired. It's the first handgun that I ever really got to handle or anything like that. And it really set the stage for me buying quite a few other handguns in my collection. And, what more can you ask from a really cool old 22 pistol like this? So anyway, that is the Ruger Mark II. Another family heirloom gun, although it doesn't really have quite the significance as some of the other guns and other heirloom guns in my collection, but it is still a family heirloom to me. It was my mom's, and now it's mine, and so I don't really plan on getting rid of this pistol ever. So that is the Ruger Mark II Standard. Hey, before I go, I just thought I'd remind everybody that I do have a second channel called Redneck Off the Range. Over there, I post most of my non-gun related content, so whether it's a video on my new tractor, my power tools, my projects that I'm working on, maybe wild game recipes, or just a random vlog, I post all of this kind of content over on my secondary channel. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out, Redneck Off the Range. But that's all for this video, so subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.